we run out of juice. That's what I see. Our lack of depth catches up with us. I don't see mistakes where guys are just covering the wrong guy. I see the running back going, and our old boys trying to get up there, and they're just out of gas. And I can't really help that during the season. I can help that in the off season as far as adding some more depth defensively. But really, that's the biggest thing that I've seen. I haven't seen. Well, I guess East Carolina, we had 3 turnovers there in the second half that hurt us. But ultimately, I mean, again, not using an excuse. It just is what it is. I mean, we just run out of gas. We're kind of like I can remember whenever I was in high school, I was a football and baseball player. And then my senior year of high school, when baseball was over, I was maybe 4R league that we were in. We were in a private school league there in South Carolina, so it wasn't 8A Florida. But I was one of the faster guys on my baseball team. Had a lot of stolen bases. So the track coach, when baseball was over, the track coach at my high school asked me if I would come out for track, and they were getting ready to go to regionals, and if I qualified for the 100 meters in regional, then I could run in the state. And so I did, and my brother was on the track team a little bit younger, 2 years younger than me, and so I went and ran the 100 meters and qualified and got to state, and it's me and this guy that was a really good player, another football player, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this, all right, I'm ready to go, and we took off, and I was right there even with him, and I figured out why it was 100 meters and not 60 meters. Because that last 40 meters, I hadn't really trained and wasn't quite ready for that. And that's kind of what I feel a little bit in some of these games, a little bit of our depth. And again, when I'm talking about depth, I'm talking about injuries and guys that are out. And so you got one guy that's backing up 3 guys in the secondary, and you just ask them, hey, give me all you got. That's all you can ask. And that's just a little bit kind of where we are now. How can you help that without being able to bring in a lot of guys late in the year? Is offensively we can run the ball. That's where I kind of point back to those 3 drives we had in the third quarter. That we got 3 plays, and 5 plays. If we're able to run the ball and number one, go down and score, but really be able to take some time off, then that helps us be able to stay off the field defensively. So we got to kind of strategize within our within our team right now, and that'll be another key this week, being able to keep Cincinnati's offense off the field, because they got an incredible wideout that I think is going to be a top draft pick. Quarterback's a top draft pick. Running back's going to be a top draft pick. So we don't want to be out there a lot of plays on defense with this crowd for sure.
What do you see with Desmond Ridder? I mean, he's a guy that's feels like he's been there for forever,
yeah.
and a guy with a lot of experience, especially in this league.
You hear coaches talk about the it factor, right? I'm like, okay, but he has it. You just turn on the video and watch it. He's like a coach on the field. He's instinctual. Again, I talk a lot about Deshaun Watson when he was at Clemson. I just felt like Deshaun could be looking over here, and he knew what was going on over here. He turned around and bam, threw the ball right there. And like, how did you know that corner was soft over here? You're sitting here staring at where you're right here, and then they take off and run, and they know exactly. And you just kind of have this sixth sense and this feel of the game that the great ones do, and that's what you see with Ridder. Like, man, he is very smart. He's like an offensive coordinator on the field, and he knows in this day and age of RPOs and read plays and all that, man, you get a guy back there that can dissect what's going on pre-snap and then post-snap, and then, I think he's probably a 4.5 at least a 4.5 in the 40. I mean, he can run. He's the second lead rusher on their team, and then obviously throws it very well. So, I mean, he's the new age quarterbacks that you're seeing be successful at the NFL level too. These guys that can throw it, but also are instinctual, can run. I mean, I'm going to be very happy when he graduates and gets drafted. I'll be sending him some congratulation messages for sure.
I'm sure half the league is.
Like you said on defense, there's only so much you can do in season. But as you move forward to the future, is it a personnel thing? Is it looking at your scheme? How do you get better in the long term? Is it both?
Yeah, I think when you're in the season, there's only so much you can do. You're kind of getting ready for your opponent. You're kind of there. I think in the off season, you got to. I mean, really, that's part of my job is when the season's over, is kind of A to Z, everything through your program, from your players, your personnel, the guys that are coming back. Coaching, everything that we're doing, looking at things that we can do better. Your support staff, your strength staff, medical staff. just everything A to Z, and how can we improve? Like, yes, we've made improvements this year from last year, but we can't just wait around for 9 months and think just because we're older it's going to be better. Like, we have to find ways to improve. So, there's a difference in I use that analogy a lot. You got the microscope and the telescope, but, really where we are right now, you got to kind of be locked in on that microscope and getting ready for third down today, because we play here in 3 days. And so, that's what we're doing, and we've done each week.
Coach, 9 different guys catch passes for you on Saturday. You had 10 targeted. That's got to be really something you look forward to, because nobody can really say, okay, we're going after one guy. There's 9 guys catching football.
Yeah, I think, kind of, again, we're talking about trying to develop depth on, kind of where we are a little bit defensively with our depth. But I think offensively, we do have a little bit more depth there, and it's good to see. I think early in the year it was just kind of like, Xavier Weaver's, that's where the ball's going, right? He's the one guy you kind of felt the best about. Now you're seeing Chris Carter lay out, make an incredible play, and Mitchell Brinkman over here. I think you're seeing Jimmy Horn, making some nice plays and getting better. I think O'Mary Dollison's a guy that I've talked about that I think has really, got a lot more ahead of him. And then those backs, right? Obviously, we talked about Jaron Mangan, the year he's had, and 2 weeks ago it was Kelly Joyner, and this week it's Brian Battie, and all these guys are young, right? And again, so that part's exciting, and something I think that will definitely make us better down the road. But ultimately, we want to use that to be able to have some good success here Friday night and in our last 3 games of the year.
For y'all in the secondary, I know obviously we've talked about injuries and all that. For those guys, especially those corners, a lot of the time I see them playing maybe 5 yards, 4 yards off the ball. Are those guys, do you just not want them to press because of the idea of maybe them getting caught behind and having to run more? Is there things you can do, maybe a little bump and run type of things that you could do to kind of make the opposing wide receivers even just kind of stutter or maybe lose a half step of the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that you would like to be able to do is be able to change it up and do both, right? Press at times, play off at times. That's ideally what you would like to do. But our job is to try to do what we think is gives us the best chance to win based off of who we're playing and what it looks like. And I think kind of where we've been after maybe what happened a little bit last year and what happened a little bit early in the year, we've kind of been in a situation where we want to try to keep it in front of us and make them drive it. And that's why I was a little bit frustrated this past week, because we gave up some big runs and big catches that I think the last few weeks before that, maybe there was one deep ball maybe against East Carolina coming off the goal line, but there was very few. And it's hard offensively for anybody, whoever you are, to have to go 10, 11 plays and convert 3, 4 third downs. And so if you're not quite, we got some guys playing out there that are cleared to play, but I wouldn't say that they're 100%. Right, and you got Christian Williams coming off of an ankle surgery that kept him out for 6 weeks, and he's getting more and more healthy. T.J. Robinson has been playing banged up and trying, and Day-Day, we don't come out and advertise all the injuries that they have if they're out there and able to play, but they haven't quite been 100%. So you got to kind of pick and choose, but ultimately we got to do what we think gives our guys the best chance to be successful.
And kind of to follow up with that, when you do sit back in zone coverage and a guy has, and it looked at a few times during the Houston game that one of the receivers had a 5-yard blanket.
Right.
Was it just primarily just guys doing a good job splitting the zone on the other end, or is there things?
Yeah, they ran a couple nice pick plays where they're out. The pass that they hit twice on us, the number 1 and 2 receiver outside cleared out. And then number 3 waited, took off, and he's a really fast receiver. We knew that Houston, number 4 Dale, there was a chance he could have been here before I got here, I heard. And he's a legit sprinter. So they kind of clear out, and it's a foot race, and they were able to kind of beat us on that. But I'm not sure it would have been a whole lot different if you get up in the face. It could be some similar situations. So those are things we got to just kind of look at, and really for us, you have to have the right leverage. You have to not give the guy free releases and get your hands on guys and do those kind of things to be able to try to offset that. But I mean, I made a living with fast wideouts, and everybody had good defenses and good efforts, and we just wore everybody out because we were just faster and better than everybody. So that's part of the game too. That's where we just got to overall and improve and with our depth and recruiting, being able to add some guys to be able to go in and maybe we're just not play 60 that those plays are going on. Maybe play 60 in the game, but it's play 35 for that corner. That's the kind of things I think that are going to be able to help us in the future.
With the playoff standings coming out.